Anyway, you'll recognize this scripture. It is from John 13:34 and 35. How many of you remember that verse? Because it's in front of you, right? All right. A new command I give you. Say that with me. A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. It should be on the screen, Morgan. See these college kids. It's not on there? I forgot slide 2. Okay, no, never mind. Y'all know it. College kids. Hey, I'm long past college. I'm in the age where you forget.
We wear the mask.
So we wear the mask. All right. Let's say it again, okay? A new command I give you: love one another as I have loved you. So we must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. It's verse 35. The world will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. There's a great poem by the name Paul Laurence Dunbar, and that should be the next verses. And he says this. This is his poem. We wear the mask of grins and lies. It's not on there either? Click it again.
Yeah, got rid now.
They're just blank.
Great job, Steve.
All
You're
right.
going to do another 10
We
years
wear the
faster.
mask. Visible.
Wow. Okay, you're just going to have to listen, so scrap that. I'll fix it. See that guy? That's Dunbar, okay? I must have fallen asleep this week. Listen to his poem. We wear the mask of grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth to mirrored subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and cries? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but O great Christ our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but O the clay of vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise, we wear the mask. It's a very powerful poem by Paul Dunbar. He was an American poet, novelist, and playwright in the late 19th century, early 20th century. Written over 100 years ago, yet it still has a strong resonance of the ethnos of African American community even today when we think about who this gentleman is. Is it not true that we all wear a mask? If you disagree, you just put on a mask. Okay? Everyone wears a mask. No matter what culture we claim, we wear a mask. No matter what church we attend, we wear a mask. No matter what our family origin is, we wear a mask. We all do. We wear the mask to disguise the hurt that we can't even talk about. We wear the mask to hide the pain of the hurt that no one knows. We wear a mask to hide the pain of that some of us have never lived without. That pain that you've been living with all your life and yet you've never let anybody know. And you wear that mask. Our masks cover the betrayal of a double tongue who speak out one side of their mouth, I love you, and yet the other side, they say, you're never going to amount to anything. Or the mask that reveals when your spouse tells you that they love you when you're alone, but when you're with a group of people around you, they pretend that you're not even there. Or what about the mask of friendship when one tells you, you're my best friend, and then at a distance and out of sight, they never call you. They rarely speak to you, whether it's school, work, or wherever. You try calling and the person's somehow always busy and can't talk. It's a tongue-in-cheek relationship. We hide behind the masks of that. You see, in our world, we can't trust anyone anymore. We just can't trust anyone anymore. So we disappear behind the mask to shade our cries from our dripping eyes and shroud the redness across our cheeks. So that's basically what that poem is about. We hide behind. And in our world, we do that. And the honest truth is this. Here, listen. We not only wear the mask, but we are the mask. See, we not only wear it, but we are the mask. Humanity is so good at masking our masked hurt. And masking our deception that, truth be told, nobody really knows who we are. Does somebody really know who you are deep down inside? That's a big question. You see, many of us are making our way through life under the guise of the not-so-golden rule, do unto others before they do unto you. That's kind of our world. So we hold back and we resist being vulnerable to each other. The idea is that to let them see us, it's even for a little while, we don't want to do that because we want to mask. We don't want them to see us. I want to take you to a night that's all too familiar with many of us. If it's not familiar with you, then I just want to share this particular night with you. It should be familiar, but it's a lonely night. It's a night where the town may be just semi-quiet. People have made their preparations for dinner, and no one has the foggiest idea what the next day will be like. None of us do. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Most of us are at home. Some may be at church. Some may be at the local store. Stars are out, shining in the darkness. The moon's bright. Slight chill in the air. And then on this particular night, all but one man decide to put on their camouflage to disguise the hidden agendas that prevail in their hearts. I take you to the night of betrayal. I take you to the night where Jesus was betrayed. And when I say that, you immediately think of Judas, don't you? When I say the word betrayal, you automatically think of a man named Judas because he sold out Jesus to the Pharisees. But I want to tell you, a close examination of the events of the night are going to reveal to us the masks of not only the betrayal, but of superiority, of pride, of honor. The night would reveal the masks of fear and arrogance and shame, even humiliation. You see, the night in the upper room, the very night that Jesus was to be handed over to the Pharisees, Judas and the others, they all entered into the room wearing their masks. They were too busy arguing with one another who was the greatest, that no one even noticed that there was no one there to wash their feet. And so Jesus takes over and he provides a teaching moment. And when he's all done, he sits down and he shares his true self. He shares the bread and the wine with these men. And while he takes the bread and when he takes the wine and he dips it in with Judas, he looks past the mask Judas is sporting and he speaks firmly and decisively into this broken betrayer, and he says, "What you do, do quickly." And Judas leaves. Now, all the things that I spoke about, the pretentious mask of love or friendship and trust, right? They're all discovered in just these few hours prior to Jesus' arrest. One sells him out, Judas. Another tries desperately to defend with action, only to be told that that's not the way to handle things, Peter. All the rest of them abandon him. They all take off. A form of denial. One flat out speaks condemning words of denial. Again, Peter. and everyone had forgotten the instructions that Jesus shared with the men prior to leaving the upper room. Part of that was the prayer that I shared with you in John 17. He spoke compassionately to them. Compassionately about living out their lives in pure honesty and genuine, authentic living. That's what he wants for those men. But to remove the masks that they wear and reveal the accurate portrait of their relationship with Jesus and his relationship with them and the world, they couldn't take off the mask. And I could hear Jesus, right? If I only had one thing to leave you, if it would be the priority of loving one another. See, this time it's not just loving your neighbor as yourself. It's not just loving your enemies. My desire is that you love each other. Can't you hear him just speak the words? A new commandment I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. And by that, all men will know that you're my disciples, if you love one another. Friends, if we're going to love the world, if we're going to love our ones, we need to remove the masks. Because here's your point. Love must be visible and demonstrable. It needs to be visible and demonstrable. Love as he loves. And people will know that you're his disciples. It changes the game. You show the authentic love while disappearing behind a wretched mask. You cannot do that. You cannot show the love if you hide behind the mask. If you're standing silently all by yourself. And like the disciples, and just like his betrayer, Jesus sees right through the masks, and he burrows deep into our hearts, and he wants to capture the real you and the real me. He wants to dig in. And he wants to reveal that to the world. All of the things Jesus knows, loving people is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Right? He knows that. Yet he looked past their sins. And he saw the soul. And he says, I created you to be holy. Therefore, I want to make you holy by taking your sin on my shoulders. God did that. Jesus did that. So that people would look at you and me in a different way. The new command, love one another. It requires a removal of a mask. So people can see the real us. I mean, who can hurt you more than the people who you're supposed to love the most, right? Jesus loved us the most, and look what we did to him. Yes, you're going to get hurt. Yes, you may be broken. It doesn't stop us from loving. And Jesus expressed his love to his disciples. You know that he taught them about his love. He showed them his love. He showed them the Father's love. He showed them what sacrifice was. He showed them what service was all about. By washing their feet, giving your all so that you can love others. Do you know when Jesus examined Judas, when he saw Judas and looked into Judas's eyes past the mask, do you know that his judgment was this? I love you. When the disciples all ran away, his heart said, I love you. When he gazed at Peter in the courtyard, his eyes caught Peter's eyes. His eyes told Peter, Peter, I love you. And when he hung on the cross and everybody's spitting at him and yelling at him and crying out to him, his grace looked down on us and said, I love you. That was his grace. You see, Jesus didn't wear a mask. His grace flowed. No mask, no deception, no facade, only exposed love came from his heart. So we need to learn, as the disciples did, that life of faith is not really about us. It's about expressing that love so that others can see who Jesus is and what He wants for us and how much He loves them. And when we begin to love simply out of our own lives without any agenda, that's when we will live out that love that Jesus showed us to live. We take off the mask. And when you need to be self-emptying love that Jesus demonstrates. Because if we hold it in and we hide it, we're never going to love like He loved. We're never going to look at sinful people and go, you know what? I see inside your heart. I see inside your soul. I'm looking past your sin, and I want you to know that I love you. See, that's what Jesus wants. That's the kind of love that He wants from us. No matter who's hurt us, no matter who's broken us, no matter what our enemies are. He says, love one another as I have loved you. I started out with this poem. We wear the mask of grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile, with torn and bleeding hearts we smile, the mouth of myriad subtleties. Why should the world be ever overwise in counting our tears and cries? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to Thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay of vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise, we wear the mask. Let go of the mask. Let go of the mask. And here's some takeaways to remember. Jesus still washes our feet. He's still washing your feet. Jesus still meets us around the communion table. And Jesus still covets our trust. To trust Him. Won't you take off your mask? Won't you remove the mask and let Him use you? Let those around you see the real you through your love. And by that love, they will know that you are His disciple. See, it all depends on how we want to react before Jesus and before man. Because Jesus already sees right through you. Most of the time, you can see right through someone's mask. Sometimes you can't. Because it's not only the fact that we wear the mask, we are the mask. And we hide it. No one sees on the inside just how much you hurt. Just how much the world around you is disturbing you. God wants you to have an openness to people, to one another, within the church, without of the church. He wants us to love like He loves. So if you're hiding behind a mask of who's the greatest, if you're hiding behind the mask of pain, arrogance, pride, untrust, remove it. Remove it. Because you can trust the one who gave His life for you. You can trust the one who gave His life for you. Let Him wash your feet. Come and have communion with God as we stand and sing.